don't get offended, but in California, you're just a pretty boy. Like, I'm very feisty. There's definitely things that I am very alarmed by, alert of, like certain things that I'm just like, hey, you need to maybe behave in this manner, or I had expectations of you or whatnot. And here, you've grown a lot.
Don't do life alone. We're sharper together. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sharper Together, and I'm excited about today's episode because long overdue. I know I've hinted it before, but my wife is joining me. This is my wife. This is the one who I've been speaking of. Is joining me as a regular co-host. And honestly, how it's going to look, we truly don't know other than just giving it a shot. But this is my wife, Elina.
Hey.
I know it feels weird me saying her name. Usually when I say her name, her first name, it's like, as she says, fighting words. But
sure is.
This is Elina Gudino.
Yep, I'm Elina. And we have been married for 10 years, which I'm sure you've already mentioned that since we just recently shared our 10-year anniversary in December. But I am also a mom of 4. And we recently had a child who turned into an adult.
Yeah.
And one of his adult activities in the first 24 hours has been to get a new battery.
Yeah, a new battery for his car.
Yeah, and he said, wow, so this is what adulthood looks like. And I said, yep. This is still like a minor detour, but a lot of that is pretty much adulting in a nutshell.
Let's talk about how we got here. Like, what is here and the, what is it? Not even season, but just a new adventure, which is sharing our lives intentionally, but that's not even the goal of how we got to South Carolina.
Yeah. Well, the way we got to South Carolina, which will be almost 4 years at the end of this month, which is
that's crazy, pretty
insane. Before we know it, we'll be here half of our marriage compared to where we started from. Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that.
Give it another year or two and we'll be halfway mark. Yep. So the way we ended up here is pretty much you kind of drawing the line in the sand and telling me to make a choice, and to step out in faith and not really just talk about options, but to like pull the trigger.
Yeah. But I remember that. And
Which I was like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? You know,
but it's been 10 years of talking about it, because I remember very clearly when we first met, some of the few conversations were just about all the places you lived and you honestly not seeing yourself living in California for a long time. And I was like, well, we'll see about that, because I'm Cali through and through, and you know,
joke's on you.
Yeah, joke is completely on me.
Yeah, I was very transparent when we met, and I said, hey, I don't think my life is always going to be in California. Like, are you okay having at least an open mind to moving elsewhere? And what did you say?
We'll see. I don't know.
You're pretty much like, I got no ties here. I'm fine. I'll just go wherever, you know,
for sure,
the Lord leads. So,
which, now that I think about it, I think it's pretty interesting that although you were the one in our marriage, knowing we were going to leave, it was the hardest for you to leave.
Yeah.
Versus me, I didn't think I would ever leave, but it was the easiest for me to leave. And just how interesting that was.
I think it's because I've left before. And because I've left before, I know how easy it is to be, sounds so self-centered, but I'm not trying to be. It's easy to feel and come to the conclusion that you're forgotten. Like this community, this childhood that you have, the surrounding environments, things that you're familiar with, the people you're familiar with. Like once you remove yourself from there, like you're forgotten, because their life goes on. You're starting a new adventure, but they just kind of pick up from where you kind of plucked out of it and move forward. And I know that was a reality I've experienced before, and it was hard. And I was nervous about that, even though I knew, like, you and I could do it. It's still, like, the reality is pretty scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good point. Because I know in our conversations of us moving to South Carolina, there was a lot of people who are like, what about your community? Which we had a really strong, well, still have, right? They're still there.
Yeah.
Have a really strong community, and you were very heavily involved with certain individuals consistently on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, how are you going to leave all those things? And to actually leave them and realize that although the emotions are intact, the smoothness of people going back to their normal lives was actually not difficult at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The emotions were there, 100%.
Yeah.
Not discrediting your emotions and emotions of everybody we left behind. But at the end of the day, it's still like, well, so I got to go to work.
Yeah.
So I got to go grocery shopping.
And I think that also helped us, like, knowing that the day-to-day quality of life was the purpose behind us moving out here. Like, you put it into great perspective that we kind of were living for comfort of moments of throughout the year, like birthday parties, holiday parties, this and that. Like, those were the things that we were looking forward to and were such a blessing and joy for our family to experience. However, our day-to-day was a struggle.
Yeah.
And California is hard to live in for many reasons. So coming out here, like, our quality of life definitely has improved. Like, we have given our kids the ability to have that childhood of, like, what I grew up in the 90s. Sorry. I know, that's the mic. But how I grew up in the 90s is living in a suburban neighborhood, coming home, putting your backpack down, and going to play outside with your friends and seeing, like, who's outside, who can you know, you're pretty much creating life outside your home.
Yes, like we went back in time.
Yeah, so I feel like, tried to encapsulate that and provide that for our children. Also, it was a risk. Like, we didn't know if that was going to actually be the result or not, but thank God it was, and it is. And now we have kids who are playing baseball outside in the corner of our house with all the neighborhood kids, and I just absolutely love that.
That is true. I do remember that conversation very much of being scared to move because of accessibility to your parents, accessibility to your family. And I remember us having that conversation in the kitchen. I was just like, okay, but let's really put that in the calendar year perspective in 12 months. Are those 7 moments throughout the year, 8 moments, 12 moments, how many it is, outweigh the daily difficulty of spending so much time in traffic to get to our kids, dropping them off to a daycare center? You know, that's took a very long time. Is it worth the price for rents? Was it worth the price of gas? Was it worth the price for everything else?
Living,
You know, and for us in our situation, it's not the same for everyone. We realized that we wanted the little moments more, and we took a leap of faith, and thankfully the Lord has been good to us, because that's exactly what we have. Is we get more time with our kids. And our time is not being divided between traffic and expenses and having to keep up with this and being afraid of this neighborhood and being afraid of that neighborhood and not being able to go there. And to now it's just like we can just have day-to-day moments with our kids. And now in the retrospect is now being on this side is when we do get time with family, it's actually a lot more valuable.
It is. I definitely miss those day-to-day moments, like, with my family, because I'm very close with my mom, my sister, my dad, my brother. So on a weekly basis, I was seeing them and having play dates and whatnot. And while our children were so small, like, that was my only, like, access, was the fact that, like, my sister and my brother had small kids too, and we're, like, kind of in this little pod of, hey, let's just get the kids together and have a great time. But that was an adjustment to do that here, for sure. But we I think once we got here, we were very intentional. Like, we were intentional with how we communicated with our neighbors, like being very vulnerable, like, hey, we want friends, like we want folks to be able to hang out with, and for us to know the families that our kids are hanging out with and whatnot. I think that was very vulnerable and definitely got a lot of strikeouts for sure. Not everybody is our cup of tea, and shocker, you and I are not everybody else's cup of tea for sure. It's you. You're too intense for everybody. No, I'm kidding. It's because we continue to invite everybody to come work out with us. That was our way of making friends. Working out outside with our kids and inviting all the neighbors to come work out. And apparently now people just avoid you at all costs.
If the garage door's open and I'm working out, they drive around the neighborhood.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to take the back roads.
No, that's true. That's true. About, we moved, man, how do I want to word this? Because we get asked a lot, like, how did you guys actually do it when we got here? Like, early stages. And it's because I would say, when we moved, we knew we would have to be intentional. Because, hopefully no one gets their feelings hurt back home. But that's kind of what we still have to do back home. Like, we lived very out of the circle of the bubble where everyone in your family lives and everybody in my family lives. We didn't we didn't party in the same places they partied. We didn't church in the same places they church. So we were already used to being the initiators to a lot.
Or inserting ourselves.
We were the ones creating moments and inviting people over, and most of the time, if we didn't do it, then no one really hung out. And we understood it wasn't.
Friend-wise, but family-wise, definitely. My family's very reciprocal. And we knew it wasn't because it's not that people didn't want to hang out with us, but that's just how busy life is. Everybody's busy.
In Cali.
Everybody's so busy all the time.
So we already had that training. So when we moved over here, we knew, okay, we already know how to do this. Like, we already know how to instigate relationships, instigate conversations, and pursue, insert ourselves in people's lives. Did it make it easy? Because making friends as an adult is extremely hard, especially for a dude.
There was a period of time where when I was intentional with making friends, and it just continued over and over again. Every time I would organize like a gathering or some kind of activity for all these women to attend just to spend any quality time with me, they would all become friends, and then I would not fit into that anymore. So it wasn't easy. I wouldn't say it was easy. I don't think adult friendships are easy at all, period. It's very vulnerable. And you get to pick and choose. And
that's what I was actually thinking.
Are crazy busy. Like, don't get me wrong, we're just as busy here as we were in California, even if we try to deny it. Like, we have 4 kids. Every evening's like packed jam with something to do. So that quality of life and intentionality with making relationships happen, I think, is what has really created like the healthy environment that we chose to live here.
Definitely a benefit from being put into a new environment is, you kind of mentioned, like, we get to pick and choose, not just moments, but we did get to pick and choose friendships too. And I know I'm only going to speak about my mindset. I'm a lot more different than you are, in the sense of, if I saw something that wasn't what I was looking for, and this sounds judgmental, but I was just like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not my value. That's not what I'm pushing for. That's not what I'm looking to get, encouraged in, is I would not want to hang out with that person. And the amazing part was, they didn't even want to be my friend to begin with, because we weren't forced to be friends, because we didn't grow up together and all that stuff. So it was interesting. That was the two sides of the difficulty. Was making friends as adult is hard, because we have life, we have kids, we have our own environment, and that they do as well. But but it did make it easier to where if you didn't want to continue that relationship, it wasn't expected because
the proximity's not there anymore.
It didn't really go far anyways.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, what was I going to say? In regards to coming out here, it definitely wasn't like all of a sudden everything changed or improved for us. I think I took it as this is a new adventure. The first year is always exciting. The second year was definitely hard on me. I think that's when like the dust had settled and every opportunity that I had to establish some kind of friendship or whatnot, or serve in some capacity, it just kind of quickly dissolved. And I was just like, listen, what's the point? I feel like we took turns.
Yeah.
Like you had a rough
First
period of time, then I had a rough period of time, and then I think by year 3, now year 4, we've really like aligned.
Yeah, year 4 is absurd in a good way.
I mean, we're finishing year 4, so
yeah, year 4 into year 5. But we'll get to that eventually.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that there was definitely an ebb and flow. I think if we both went through that difficult period of time with the transition, like it would have been too hard.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my gifts, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is I can separate and compartmentalize.
Yeah.
That first year, it was hard for me, yes, to make friends because it was just hard. But it wasn't hard for me as a husband because I took that first year as, okay, you're going to have the hardest time because you lost a lot more meaningful connections that were part of your day-to-day rhythm. So that first year and a half, you say second year, I think about like 7 months in is when you really started feeling it, was I was mentally preparing myself, emotionally preparing myself for you missing your mom and you missing your sister and you missing your friends and missing the accessibility that you once had. So I was able to thrive and be there in that environment for you. And then I was okay sacrificing not making meaningful relationships. I was okay sacrificing it. It was not fun at all. It did not feel good. Talk about feeling insecure at 30 something years old.
Yeah.
You know, like what's wrong with me? Why does no one want to be my friend?
Yeah, it felt very insecure on many levels as a grown adult with children, and you're teaching your kids how to make friends, and you yourself are like, oh man, okay, I gotta.
Yeah, I was jealous of JJ, him making friends like that. This is my new friend. I'm just like,
yeah, and you're just
tell his dad to come over.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did keep that in the back of my mind every time that, like, we're setting a example for the kids as to how to make friends and to take loss as well, because not everybody wants to be your friend, and it's okay. Yeah. And like, how do you navigate that? And I put on a brave face for my kids, and then in the evenings I'd be like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to be my friend. Like,
yeah.
But it all worked out. It really did.
You know what I noticed as we're talking about this, how different we are, where when we are making new friends, I'm a lot more intense up front.
Yeah.
And straight up. Yeah. And you're a lot more smooth, calm, collective. And then let's just say they stuck around. They got to see your intensity, and then they got to see that, oh, he's actually more smooth, calm, and collective than he lets on.
Yeah, we do like a little switch and break for them, where I like reel them in with my
I'm just secure, and I'm just protecting my heart and be like, listen, I'm an intense individual, so let me give it to you all right now and make your decision and then break my heart.
No, I don't do that. I create space for people to feel less intimidated by me, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. But what would you say? You brought it up. You know, year one we took turns, and year one was specifically different than year two.
Yeah.
But for year one, what was the most difficult hurdle for you?
Honestly, I really liked year one. Year one was great because people were still excited and I was excited. Everything was new. You get to explore. You take the kids everywhere. Plus, I wasn't working, which was great. Never thought that I had it so good. I'm full-time employed now, where I took it for granted to be a stay-at-home mom for that first year. But it was exciting and new. People came to visit. Like, we had 6 different families come visit all within 1 year.
That's true.
So I felt like I was kind of going from one visit to the next visit, and then we went out there, and it just kind of ebbed and flowed in a healthy amount where I had doses of
it was like a smooth off-ramp. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but year 2, it was like dead silence. Like, no more calls, no more check-ins. Like, I kind of went MIA on social media as well because I'm like, no one wants to hear about my boring circumstances here. Sorry, I made a large,
no, you're fine.
Big noise. My bad. So it just felt like I kind of retreated back into like trying to figure out like what is our life going to look like here and what do I want the standard to be, and trying to make friends and, you know, figuring out work and everything else. Like, year 2 was really hard for me. Year 3, a lot better. Year 4, definitely a lot better.
What made it better year 3?
Stability. I think stability, and also having expectations of like, hey, it's not realistic to go see my family or have my family come out and see me every season or whatnot. Not that I would put that on them or myself, but like kind of time healed the
wounds?
Like wound. It's not even a wound because it's not a wound because I didn't get hurt. I chose to leave. Just kind of, we had a new routine. Like, we knew what we were doing. All the kids were in school already. Like, Monday through Friday is completely like on a routine. And then on the weekends, like, and not to mention, like, I love to schedule little adventures here and there. And I know you're such a big fan of them. So I was trying to be very intentional with my time, with our time, and looking forward to like the once a year trip or whatnot. I don't even think we went to California last year.
No, I think there was all the years kind of blur to me.
Like, as
I remember
family.
segments, but I don't like always remember the order of the segments.
Oh.
But yeah, I think there was a while that it really slowed down. Actually, it's slowed down ever since that moment.
Yeah.
You know, and the only reason I think it's picking up, it's because we have big pivotal birthdays and events and
little jubilees,
35th and 40th and 18s and graduations happening this year. It's a very expensive year. Yeah.
Expensive April, May, and June. But yeah, I think also bringing in those specific celebrations and with the family being able to do those outings, and like, we're going to visit and have like a family reunion. Yes, it's for birthdays and graduation celebration for our oldest and whatnot. So a lot of big milestones. The fact that we're able to wrap that up in one trip, I think like spending time together is very meaningful now too. Not that I ever took it for granted, but you know, life is short.
Yeah.
I also now know how my mom felt when she would go back home and like visit her parents, and that's like across the world.
Yeah, we just went from one side of the country to the other one. Yeah.
So
let's talk about
continuing that tradition of apparently moving away.
Yeah, so we knew one of the struggles we knew we were going to encounter was the routine, family, new place. Another one was my health.
Yeah, which is primarily the reason why we moved out here. Like family quality of life for sure is number
it's
one.
up there.
But that does tie in with your quality of health.
Yeah.
Because if you're not healthy and the amount of struggle you had in California and the fact that like if I even got a whiff of anything that would make your life a bit better was immediately considered and put on the table to either all of us to adjust to it or try it out or so I think it was easier on me to be able to sacrifice moving away, knowing that you would have a better quality of life with us.
Yeah.
Like that day to day is far more important than just giving our kids, the childhood of the 90s. But your health absolutely was a pivotal decision.
Did you know? I think we've talked about this a while ago or not, but did you know that actually I hated that being a reason that we moved was my health? That. And how when you were having your difficulties with, your emotions and missing your family, like the enemy really used my health against me. It's just like, well, you're the reason that your family had to be forced and you forced your family out. Mm-hmm. And one day they're going to resent you for it. And that was difficult.
Yeah, I could see that. I do know that I would check in with you from time to time and be like, hey, what's on your heart? How's your heart? What's your mind? Like, what, spiritual state are you in? Because it is a huge responsibility to carry on yourself. Like, to know that your health kind of dictates our quality of life is a huge impact.
Yeah.
But it is worth the sacrifice. It is worth the adjustment. It's not even really a sacrifice for us. It's an adjustment for our family. And I think that for our kids, it's a good thing to know that, like, hey, you sacrifice for the people you love. And dad is somebody we love and we'll do anything to give him an ounce of like any kind of relief is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's...
Which is why we're going to Florida, not California for all of our trips now.
Yeah, that's true.
So you don't have to sacrifice your vacation to be uncomfortable in an environment that you left because it was hard on your body.
Just for those who don't know, I have transverse myelitis, so I'm not going to... We're definitely going to have an episode on just how that has completely turned our life upside down, and we obviously still live the consequences of that. But it was unreal moving here because it allowed me to recover better. And it's not even that I feel better here. It's just I can recover better here.
Yeah.
Therefore leading to potential me feeling better. To when we first moved here, my body acclimated. I started seeing the ease of recovery and the ease of mobility and the ease of strength, and then visiting Sacramento again for the first time.
Like turned it on.
And I remember very clearly, what was it that we were at your sister's house and I could not move and I'm there while a party's going on and I'm laying on the couch in pain, in excruciating pain, because my body adapted to the humidity. And that's the reason why we moved here. It's the humidity does well. And it was wild, absolute wild, and so difficult to understand. To explain, sorry. So difficult to explain. Because our family knew why we left. We knew it was for Jay Cruz's health, for my health. And
nobody even batted an eye or...
Yeah. And it was crazy until, that they got to see it firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a drastic shift in your ability to be mobile.
Yeah.
You can't even deny it. And you did a really good job, I think, keeping it all in when we lived there because you didn't know any better. And you didn't know that there was another option until we came out to the South, and humidity just does wonders on the muscles, joints, the body.
Yeah. So how, from your perspective, how has it been knowing that moving here helps me, but technically it's just my body then finds new ways to break down, and how every summer is not the same, every winter is not the same, and every year is not the same. You know, trying to figure out what works today might not work tomorrow.
Even though you've had this disease for 7 years, I think that every year, like every summer, is just revisiting, like the slate has been cleaned from last summer to this summer, and it just kind of is a learning curve all over again. So I think coming into that mentality, and really, I do really heavily rely on your cues. Like, there are things that I could notice, obviously, from the outside looking in, but I really do rely on you to be vocal on the fact that what is uncomfortable, what you can and can't do, because I'll get tunnel visioned with the kids and be like, hey, we're going to go to the beach and this, and this.
Yeah.
And you try to keep up. But if you don't give me all the cues, I will miss it.
Yeah.
And then we're in a situation, like we've been in multiple situations, where you're almost passing out on the beach and you're a lot bigger than I am. And I cannot get you to safety.
Yeah.
And neither can our teenage son. So just being aware and being okay with the adjustment. Like we just have to adjust things. Like some months are a lot slower than other months. Like if we know it's going to be a heat wave or something like that, yes, I would love to be at the beach. But I also know that you are going to be stuck underneath a tent the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is no fun to you. But it's better than also being stuck in the house under an AC with no humidity. So it's like,
yeah, no.
what do we do?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And
not to mention all the amount of, like, in the back of my head, I always have like, okay, I only have 16 summers with my children while they're small, or 5, or now like our oldest is 18. And I'm just like that, all 18 summers are gone.
yeah.
Did I cram everything I could into those 18
Yeah,
summers?
and we'll talk about that it's funny how those thoughts, I have those same thoughts, but they actually work against me to not giving you the cues, because I know, well, we only have a limited time. I think I can push. I
can see that.
You know, and how many times me being prideful for admitting that, like, I'm 7 years in and I still have a difficulty telling you that I can't do this. It's the sentence I hate to say. So, especially like to something you and the kids really want to do. Like, I'm gonna muster every single little bit, and then unfortunately, that one time in Florida where I got a heat stroke.
Yeah.
Or heat exhaustion, not a stroke, and I don't remember 4 hours after that.
Yeah.
And
Luckily, we had family.
Yeah, I just remember waking up in a room with AC.
Yeah, that's insane.
But it's tough, you know. And I remember moving here. The fear that I had was, although Sacramento was hard for my body, I had a great support system, medically wise. And I had a great neurologist. I had a great PT in Allison, you know, which I still have yet to find in Allison out here. You know, you're a dime a dozen. And then learning the hard way that the health system here works very different than it does in California. Kaiser, as much as people might hate it for other reasons, the one thing was great was I didn't have to ask permission to see anybody.
True.
You know, and if I needed something, I knew I can go to Kaiser Roseville, and it was a rep.
But that's because you had a rare and unique condition.
Yeah.
They did give you that attention. If I come in there,
true. That's what I'm saying.
My medical prevention staff, they're like, just cut that organ out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was no different. They were just trying to drug me with a new drug, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that.
That's true.
But that was one of the fears, just like having to start all that over. And we're 4 years in, and I still have not been able to find good.
So is it worth it?
Good.
Moving out here?
It's still worth. Yeah, it's worth it. Okay. It's still worth it. It's just. It does help to go back to Sacramento from time to time, so I remember how much better my body feels here. Yeah. Because sometimes you just forget, just like everybody gets comfortable with their situation. But I remember coming home from doctor's appointments and crying because this one didn't work out again. And I got to go and find a new doctor, a new PT, or get in an argument with one of them. Like, listen to me. No, that doesn't work for me. Yeah.
At least you're a great advocate for yourself, though.
Well, I got that from you.
Yeah, I think I ended up having to do a lot of that for you when you first got your condition. And then once we moved here, like, doing your stuff, like, my expertise has been, like, not unvalued. Those are not the words I want to use. My knowledge had run out. Like, you already knew.
Yeah, I am the subject matter expert of my subject matter. You
are the subject matter expert and the one with the expertise in, like, the day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So.
Pivoting to. So we took the leap of faith moving out here, trusting that my health would be better, and thank God it has been. Yeah. It is better. It's manageable. It's not better. It's way more manageable.
One of the most reassuring statements I had received while going through, like, the decision of moving and whatnot, literally our stuff was in the truck. It left. And I think you ended up leaving. It was just me, my mom, and the girls were the last ones to fly out. And I was just like, Mom, maybe I'm making a mistake, this and that. And she goes, what's the worst that could happen? You could just pack your stuff and move right back. But you've never been on that side yet. Like, you don't know what is waiting for you on that end until you try it. And the worst that could happen is you just come right back home. Like, that's not a big deal. And her just saying that, I was like, you're right.
Yeah, it's really not.
Like traveling like Christopher Columbus into another new world, you know. Yeah. It's familiar. We have the means of transportation and the health of my parents to be able to come and visit us and to do all that. I'm like, this is the time to do that.
Yeah.
And our kids were a little bit older.
Well, I think that was the Holy Spirit, because the next question I was going to ask, or where I was going to transition us to, was the latest statement your mom said 4 years later as she left.
What was it?
On regards to on the statement that you told me she said, she was like, it is clearer more than ever that you were supposed to be here.
Yep. Yeah.
What would she say? That's how I remember it. She's the one. She said it to you.
She did. She said that.
So you had your mom and your sister out here for your birthday.
Yes. Thank you for that wonderful surprise. Like, absolutely. Shout out to my mom and my sister, who were so sweet enough. I'm not a material person, so the fact that they came to visit and spend my birthday with me was incredible. But my mom and my sister both had said that it looks like our life, like the Lord has led us into this environment, into this community, into our life. Like, it's exactly where we belong at this point of time. Yeah. And that was very reassuring, because most of my life, I never felt like I belonged anywhere until I met you. So it was really reassuring to know that I have a place here. Like, the Lord has landed me exactly where I need to be.
Yeah, He's definitely has given us the desires of our heart.
Yeah.
When it was a quality of life of our kids, right, which we spoke about, and He gave us that. Yeah, just yesterday, you know, it's like just being able to slow down on a random Monday night, and our kids are playing baseball with the neighborhood kids and having a great time, and they're like, we can't wait to see you tomorrow, like, you know, and slowing down really and choosing what we want to do. And then also my health, and how ultimately the healthier I am, the better our family is, because that can be accessible for our family. But then he went ahead and gave us a community that, man, these are my words. You get to choose whatever you want to say, but a community I only dreamed of. A community of individuals who are truly, truly God's gift of, man, like, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. A very purposeful community, a community that has a purpose and understands it very well, and I never really thought I could be a part of something like that. That's how I view the community we have now.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I would say the same way that there is purpose behind it. I also feel like since we grew up in environments where our relationships were based on proximity and folks that we were raised with and grew up with and familiarity, it really allows us to step out of our comfort zone, which I didn't think I had a problem with stepping out of my comfort zone. I tend to hang out on the outskirts anyway in society. But this is far more than I could have ever imagined. Like, multiple times throughout my church families, I've attempted to be involved and participate and serve and have these deep relationships centered around Christ. But it just wouldn't, organically, it just would not happen. It was very surface level, very difficult to get past that. But here, I know that we walked into church and we're like, this is where God has called us to be. Very reassured. And the fact that we came in with serving hands. Hey, we want to serve. This is how we're going to plug in. We want our kids to also be involved in church and whatnot. So having that intentionality, God just kind of, with that, we've reaped these deeper relationships where they're not very surface level, and by choice.
Yeah. Well, I agree with everything you said, but it's not like we didn't do that with Bridgeway. It's not like we didn't do that with Genesis.
We tried.
Right? I have thought a lot about why our life is the way it is out here when it comes to kingdom mindset and just literally building up people. And it's because we had no default to fall into with relationships with people. So what I mean is, when we went to Genesis, there was somebody we still knew. Mm-hmm. And we would subconsciously feel comfortable and not strive and push to be known or strive to push to know something new about someone. It was, we already know these people, then let's just hang out with them. Mm-hmm. And then see what other communities we bring together.
Yeah.
And no knock to anyone, but the people that we would gravitate to, there wasn't anything causing friction to be Christ-like. Mm. Versus here, we had no one to default to, And then the difficulty of making friends for me made me realize, well, what is it that I need spiritually?
Yeah.
And then that environment of I'm trying to make a friendship. Here's an opportunity to make a friendship. Is this just going to be a fun time, or is this actually going to be someone that challenges me in the faith? And that's something that I was hungry for. Mm-hmm. Hungry for someone to look at me and go, nah, we don't talk like that. You shouldn't say those things. You shouldn't act that way, Now that's was very difficult for me to ask for that when I kept falling into a default friendship or Default environment, versus here that default was gone. There The guardrails are gone.
Yep.
There is no one to feel safe with. So you had no other choice to keep pushing forward. And that's why I believe that we were blessed with the community that we are, because we had to work really hard to be known and really hard to want to make a difference in people's lives.
I think also stepping into that leadership role, because we could have easily just like sat in the background and be participants, but the way things moved so quickly, like Pastor Jarrett just kind of launched us into a leadership role of like a small group. And I will say it was a bit uncomfortable at first, because I'm like, we're the newest ones here. Like, what are we doing trying to be leaders? Like, we barely know how to lead adults. Like, sure, I think as parents, we definitely have a great strategic plan, but as leaders of small groups of adults, I'm like, okay, what is
And they were all older
here?
than us.
Yes, everybody was older than us, so that was a little, but I think that the Lord had opened that door of opportunity for us to invite other people to something that's very intentional and purposeful. And not just to like, hey, let's hang out, and which is great. Like, love that. Let's hang out. But then that tends to keep things pretty surface level. But when you have a small group and you're like, hey, let's discuss the sermon of the lesson today, or the lesson is about the sermon that Pastor DJ is discussing, like that gives you dialogue to see other people's perspective. And a lot of us actually came in with previous church wounds that we kind of carried around from place to place until we landed here. And ironically, a lot of our small group actually came from Sacramento, California, who also launched out here and are transplants and may have even been here longer than us and never plugged in. So I think the posture that we came in with an open heart and with open hands of serving really allowed the Lord to bless us abundantly. Because there's nothing I could have done differently to make friends, even when I tried. But the amount of beautiful people that we've come across, like that wasn't by accident at all.
No, it really wasn't by accident. I've obviously have had a lot more time to think about this and reverse engineer.
Deconstruct?
No, not deconstruct at all. No. Reverse engineer.
You're anti-deconstruct word.
I am anti-deconstruct. Like, come on. Anywho. Re-engineer. Mm-hmm. You know, to re-engineer my process, not my process, the process God brought me through. And it was through a lot of loneliness and brokenness in that first year that we mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, of just like trying everything possible to be able to make friendships and to make meaningful conversations with people. And it just wasn't happening until I realized, I don't have another word to, no, I do. I got it. Is I just had a very superficial faith walk that was built by pattern and built by an environment. The people I spent the most time with were fellow believers, and believers who would, unfortunately, you know, however they feel about it, they feel about it. And if they get offended, they get offended, who just coasted. So I would coast with them, or I would lead the coasting from time to time. Versus here, I realized that my thought process wasn't kingdom-minded. The things that I desired wasn't kingdom-minded. There was just a lot more self-centeredness and selfishness that had led to me being brokenhearted. So when Jared McNeely came in, my cry was, I need discipleship. I need mentorship.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get into the small group, you know, and then next thing you know, is just like, tag, I'm too busy. Our church is growing. Can you run it? Just a couple lessons, and then yeah, it's yours.
I feel like it was just the carrot.
Yeah. But we've been, you and I have been talking about this for a while on how the South manned me up. Yeah,
that's true. I think that's one of the most biggest transformation in our family is the fact that you really stepped up to that male, masculine priesthood position and call that God had on you. Don't get offended, but in California, you're just a pretty boy. Like, I'm very feisty. There's definitely things that I am very alarmed by, alert of, like certain things that I'm just like, hey, you need to maybe behave in this manner, or I had expectations of you or whatnot. And here, you've grown a lot. You have become the man.
Well, don't worry about my emotions or my feelings. Don't talk in broad aspects. Like, let's really get into it.
Like you've really become a servant to your family. Like you've been serving your family, where you're taking the lead and not like in a misogynistic, toxic masculinity way or anything. All the buzzwords that society uses now, but more of like, you really are that like protector. Like, I really feel like you've stepped up to that role that I needed from you. And I feel like in California, I kind of gave you a pass in all of that because I'm like, oh, you're sick. You have medical conditions. It's not like I had to be the one who's lugging everything around and doing all the things and really being independent on my own strength and kind of making excuses for you to not overexert yourself, which I know that you were in pain and are in pain. But here I'm just like, you signed up to be a man. Like, now I have different expectations of you and the girls and how they should view you and how they should feel safe and confident in you, and just how our boys should now be aware of like basic qualities that are needed in a man. Like, the men out here are different. Like, they are like rough and rugged and
yeah. No, I agree.
I don't
in
even
California,
know how to explain that.
Yeah, no.
Like, they're not delicate flowers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. The man I was in California, I grew into a very much enjoy life it's not that I don't enjoy life now, but a very much like life is about enjoying life only, right? Enjoy life, feel great, look great, materialistic. Let's just, don't worry about it. Let's not worry about what's happening around everything else. Like, let's just, make the best of kind of things. I consider myself an optimist, but in reality, I was like self-centered, You were
YOLOing it all up.
Yeah, it's just like
YOLO all the way.
And in my head, I was like, as long as, I'm kind to my wife and kind to my kids, and, I was still a good father. And I would still say I was a good father and I was a good husband, but I wasn't anyone to imitate or role model. I was playing with two roles at the same time. It's just like, I want to be likable and cool and like young and, not fall into the, trendy and care about a lot more about what I'm wearing and all that kind of stuff. And wanting to have a good time. Mm-hmm. Versus here, I learned that, the guys out here, not everything I should copy, but the biggest thing that God showed me was my wife and kids. My wife and kids. My wife and kids. I remember like trying to meet with guys like, hey, yeah, let's go hang out. Like to get to know you, man. Like once again, awkward making friends. I would literally say like, listen, I'm new here. I want to make some friends. Would you like to go out to eat? And their response would be like, go out to eat? No, that's time and money away from my family and my kids. Like, how about, like, you're married with kids, right? Come over to my house.
Yeah.
Let's meet your wife and kids. And so that was very different to me. Like that was a very common thing of just like the fathers here, the husbands here, they didn't want to spend more time away from their family.
Yep.
They were just, let me take care of what my wife and kids need. And they said it in a servant way, not in like, well, if my wife and my kids let me, you know how it is. That's how it was in Cali.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, oh, well, if I get to.
Yeah.
But here, like the guys that I've been privileged to be around, which I believe God was very intentional in putting me in this environment, because I'm not saying that every guy from the South is this way. No. But the ones that I've got to interact with are very much like, oh, once my wife and kids get what they need, then I'll let you know if I have time.
Yeah. Like, my cup is full with them, and if there's anything left over.
Yeah. And it was very much like, if you want to hang out with me, then you got to spend time in my environment.
Yeah. And families. Like, it's very family oriented, not like hey, buddy's just going out to play golf or something, which does happen, but.
Yeah. And I remember when I told you, I was like, I started realizing that even some of the California tendencies is we'll show up to their house. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we get a tour of your house? Or this is a very beautiful house. No, we said it. Don't look at me like that.
No, we just said it's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Like, we would make sure we complimented the home environment that they've made. And they thought that was the weirdest thing. Yeah,
they're like, I'm like, oh man, like how many rooms you got? Or like, where's this or where's that? It's a very nice house. When did you get it? Like, did you build it and stuff like that? And they literally.
A foreign thing. Maybe it's not even a California thing.
I don't know what it is.
It's a foreigners thing.
Well, you're more foreigner than I am in the sense of like, you're more intact with your foreignness than I was. But to me, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a Californian foreigner thing. The point was, I remember. Like, Josh Massey, I don't remember if you told me this, it's just a house, man. Who cares? I got the same thing you do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And then I asked someone about their truck, and then Chris Beatenbaugh is just like, who cares about the truck? It turned, like, what? Why do you keep asking me or talking about this stuff? Like, what do you want to eat?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. To now, it's like, I show up to someone's house and it's just like, we go straight to just conversation. We go straight to, there is no like, I plan, like I have yet to have a conversation with someone on planning to like, the house is great, but I'm going to add this and I still need this and I still need that. Like zero. That sidetrack. But that was, that's something that really spoke to me. And I'm just like, they're a lot more free. The men out here are a lot more simple and free from like necessities or materials, and it made me realize like how materialistic I really was.
They'll talk to you about hunting, what they caught, where they fished,
and how many people they can feed with it, and who they're ready to invite. And I've
never met so many people who hunt, and I'm like, oh, this is like a thing here.
Yeah.
And the first like spring, summer, fall, well, they hunt all year here. It depends on what they're hunting. The amount of like gunshots that we would hear from the surrounding forest, because we live in a rural area, but outside of our community, there's just like forest upon forest upon forest.
Well, I was used to gunshots too, but for the wrong reasons.
I know. Well, that... We were used to other kind of gunshots. You usually are followed by sirens.
Yeah.
Here, it's straight up, you hear weapons go off, and then no one flinches. Like, we came out and, like, asked our neighbors next door, and we're like, hey, what is that? Like, should we be concerned? Like, where do we move to? And they're like, oh, no, it's hunting season. Oh, it's, they're probably doing this. Or it's the gun range. And I'm like, so no one is nervous about any of this, and they're like, no, where are you from? So that that was also
that was something to
a
get
transition for us.
So there was a
too.
lot of like Southern stuff, but like, so that was one thing that for sure challenged me as a man. Is just like, I started listening to the things I wanted to talk about, or even the things I was just so used to talking about. And once again, I'm like, I'm not throwing any shade to just like our past life. We're just sharing what has changed in our life.
The differences we experienced.
You know, and being around these men really made me realize, like, I don't really think about my wife and kids as much as I thought I did. You know? And then, like, I don't put my wife and kids in the place that they belong. You know, I very much subconsciously will find a way to care for myself first. And I'm not talking about in a healthy way, like in my conditioned way, but just like comfort. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to always find out for me to feel comfortable, and then I'll check with my wife and kids. And now it's like, has transitioned and changed to just like, I can, whether I'm comfortable or not, it's never, I don't care for that option anymore. It's more whatever my wife wants, whatever she needs to eat, wherever she wants to go, however she wants things kind of done. Like, I'm going to default to that, and then the kids, and then if there's anything left over for me, there's something left over for me. And that's something that I learned out here, you know, because it's not that I wasn't able to learn it back over there, because I know that there's men out there, but
Very
those men, however, that did live that way were not intentional of it being known. Versus here, they're very intentional of just like, I don't waste my time with that stuff. And they would tell me that. I don't waste my time with that stuff. You have time to think about that? That's a waste of time. They would say that. And I'm just like, okay, all right then. I guess it is a waste of time. Like,
let's flip that around. What have you noticed that has shifted about me living here in the South?
It's more recent than mine. Was a little bit more instant. Within a year or two. I think for you, it's more recent on just wanting to serve me better. Is not that, you know, not trying to offend you or anything. It's not that you didn't want to serve you. I know.
Just kidding.
It's not that you didn't want to serve me, but it wasn't a natural thing. Like your inclination was to the kids first.
Yeah, of course.
Versus now, I'm seeing in you that you're like, no. What does dad need? And then going to the kids.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that our kids are older now. Like when...
Oh, so it's not a South thing, so never mind.
No, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like, I needed to serve the kids. They didn't know how to serve themselves. Like, now they could get dressed and they could feed themselves and this and that. Where before, like, I had to do all that so that way you didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
So I thought I was serving you by avoiding them coming to you, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Where here, I'm like, they're older now. We're in a completely different season now where I get to divide my attention. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It does.
I mean, I've enjoyed being a Southern belle. I very much appreciate that. I no longer open doors for myself if I don't have to. It's just not a thing I do anymore.
Yes, you have definitely enjoyed that Southern belle, but I honestly don't know if anything, let me reset that statement. I don't think anything major has changed with you. And I have the awareness and the emotional toughness to accept this, but it's just, in our whole marriage, you've never been the problem. It's been me.
Wow.
It's been me needing to hurry up and learn to be the husband you needed. So moving out here made me realize, and definitely sped up the process of what's more important to me? And one of those was rising up to be the husband you expected me and the man that you expected me to be, and then surpassing that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm the one that's changed the most.
I think so.
I'm the one that had a lot more tougher lessons to learn. So to answer your question, like, I think now you just are barely 10 years into our marriage, are able to operate the way you get to, and the way you were designed, and the way God wants you to be, because I have taken my place where I belong, which is the leader of our home, the first line of defense, the first line of attack, the protector, the one who brings comfort, and the one who brings peace in my home.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to worry about anything other than taking care of our kids. Unfortunately, financially speaking, you still need a job.
For now,
right? But what I've been enjoying seeing in the last year, and that's why I said, I'm like, the biggest changes I've seen in you in the last year have nothing to do with changes you needed to do, was that you're now getting able to enjoy being cared for and enjoy not thinking about safety and the future and leading our kids emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You just get to be a wife and a mother.
Yeah.
And it's that is the greatest blessing that Transverse Myelitis and moving to the South has done for me. Was without these two pivotal moments in my life, we wouldn't be the blessing that we are for other people.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of, you know, since you're going to be a regular here, we don't have to squeeze everything in. But I do want to talk about and close out with the simple fact of, it's weird to mention it because it's going to sound like self-promoting and boasting, but we boast in the Lord. Because of these two pivotal moments, and us Transverse Myelitis and moving to the South, man, like the amount of people we get to speak life into.
Yep.
And there's two small groups we get to lead and love on, and people literally look at us as examples of marriage, examples of individuality, examples of parents.
Yeah.
You know, people older than us are asking us for wisdom and advice. You know, I mentioned the two young adults, and then just the men I've been able to disciple, not teach about Bible, but disciple. And then our 18-year-old literally turning into a man, which I would say is the most important thing. That moving out here is, yes, we get to participate in the kingdom like we never thought we could before, but seeing how healthy our 18-year-old is.
And I think I've had a lot of his growth on my mind is because our youngest one is in kindergarten. Our oldest one is a senior in high school. So like he is in adulthood while our baby is like no longer a baby. And seeing where he has arrived in the 4 years that we've been, I'm like, I am so excited to see where the rest of the kids, like what their life is going to look like with the healthy setting that we have now to launch them forward, and the amount of work that they're going to do for the kingdom, and the examples and the healthy people we are surrounding them with, and the type of examples we're providing them to be disciples. So with him, in just short 4 years of how that was launched and how amazing of a human being he is, no matter what kind of struggles he's had, like our kids have that foundation so much more solid than what he was launched from. So I think that gives me hope, reassurance, a lot of faith and trust in the fact that like this is exactly where we need it to be.
Yeah.
Mind you, if the Lord tells us to like sell everything and go on a mission, with the entire family, I am no longer afraid of that being a calling. Where I'm like, cool, we got this. That is a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is.
Obedience is what we've been instilling into our children. So we ourselves have actively been practicing it as well.
Yeah. The last 2 years have been the most amazing, powerful 2 years of my whole entire life. And it has everything to do with God wrecking me,
And your
calling me out, and me like putting things where they belong.
Yeah.
Which is my wife, my children, ministry, and the rest can fight for fourth place. You know, and just like knowing that I was a stepson and my oldest is my stepson. And all the pain that I had to go through of being a stepson. That God had the ability to use me so that my son doesn't have to have that as the story.
Yeah.
And that he's entering into adulthood with a firm foundation in Christ, a father that models it every day, a mother that models it every day, and then little ones that admire him, which is his siblings, who absolutely adore him. I really find it really hard to believe that we would be able to accomplish that with our oldest if we stayed back in Cali. If we didn't take that leap of faith of moving out here.
Yeah. It's all God's will. Redeemed all of our lives.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the theme of our relationship. Redemption. It's the theme of our marriage, our wedding.
It really has been.
It only continues on.
Yeah. I still remember that day very clearly. On right next to that Panda Express and that Starbucks. On, I forget this, Roseville Road and I forget the name of the streets.
It's Watt Avenue.
Yeah, Watt Avenue, or whatever. And how I looked at you and I said, like, our marriage is not for us. Our marriage is for God to use. And that was 10 years ago. 11 years ago. It was 11 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
And only now we're able to see. And I believe this is just a glimpse of what God has in store for our marriage and our children and all those people that we get to do life with and our time here in South Carolina. And yeah, like if he says you're going to so-and-so, it's just like, all right, cool.
When you'll figure out the details.
Yeah, zero attachment to stuff here because I am blessed to say this, that we have become very kingdom minded.
Yeah.
And it's never been easier.
Yeah.
To be kingdom minded, and we're grateful for the steps that needed to take place. A lot of difficult steps, a lot of excruciating ones with so much tension, so much friction, so much crying and arguing with God. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Which is ironic because the moving part was the easiest thing we've probably ever done. It just worked out so smoothly.
Oh, yeah, all of it did.
It was so smooth. And I'm just like, wow. Within like 3 months, we were out here.
Yeah.
Moved a whole family of 6. So
it really did happen so
good.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good. And even if I planned it so perfectly, the way we thought it would be, it still turned out so much better.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me on and sharing this with me.
Yeah, as a good mom, she's eager to get home to the kids.
I am very much so. it's a school night and I miss my babies.
Yeah. But I know this for sure. This episode is blessing someone. And this is just the beginning of what God has in store. We fully don't really know exactly what God's going to do with this podcast.
We are being obedient and we're just launching it forward. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. But I pray that that you guys are able to come alongside us and like, share, subscribe, do all the things that be able to get the message out. Ultimately,
comment what what else you want to hear about our story. We have a lot. A lot has happened in 10 years, so we just want to be strategic as to how to launch that forward. If we can be. If not, I mean, it's just
it is what it is.
It's gonna look like a hot mess. We'll figure it out later. Yeah,
we will. But ultimately, I hope you always be able to hear the pattern in all the episodes where it's just like doing life alone. It's not the way we were designed to be. So even if we are called to be relocated somewhere, when we arrive to that area, our mission is to create community, and community that makes an impact, and if it wasn't for that community that we got to create for ourselves through God's guidance and a lot of closed doors, closed opportunities, we would not be sharper. So just remember, don't do life alone, because we are sharper together. Amen. On to the next one. Don't do life alone. We're sharper together.